And good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, everyone. We are back on. This is the second live stream I've done this morning. So good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The United Kingdom is falling. You can see the cracks everywhere. I want to start by talking about three pads Rayner. Angela Rayner, for all you guys know, she's bought a third house in is it Brighton? I think on a seafront apartment in Brighton. Now it cost 800 grand. And look, guys, a lot of people are saying and asking, how do they pay for that? And they're saying, 800 grand's a lot of money to pay. Who would give that as who would just buy her an 800 grand house? Ladies and gentlemen, look, guys, I'm going to tell you how the scam may or may not work. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, I've got no inside information on this. I am totally speculating right now for entertainment purposes. And I'm going to tell you how I think the scam may or may not work. You let me know if you think how feasible that is, ladies and gentlemen. But before we get onto that, guys, can you guys do me a real big favor? Like, comment, subscribe, share, bell notification, all those things that help this channel grow, guys, because we are triple streaming. We're on TikTok, we're on YouTube, and we are on X. All these videos will be uploaded to YouTube afterwards. So if you miss anything, you can go back and watch that on YouTube. So how does the scam work then with two pads Rayner? So, and I kind of touched on this yesterday, and I promise you, I didn't realize that this had actually happened. Now, I was getting a lot of questions in the comments last night. And the questions were like, £800,000 is a lot of money for somebody to give somebody. It's not. It's not. So let's just say, for example, and this is speculatively, guys, I don't know if this is happening. Let's just say your local council, I don't know, Durham County Council or whatever. So Durham County Council, they have an excess of allotments, right? You have a lot of allotments. Now, Durham County Council are told, listen, to raise money, you guys can sell your, you can sell your allotment space, Oh, right, okay, we can sell our allotment space. How do we do that? You have to go through the government portal. Okay, what's the government portal? Well, you have to register like this, and then we'll send that out to potential buyers, but you have to auction it off, and you have to take whatever money you get on the first day. Okay, we got that. Yeah, got that. So then there's some mistake, and only one person gets the email about where this auction is going to be. You see where I'm going with that, guys? So the day of the auction, to auction all the allotment land off, only one person turns up, or 10 people, or a select few. And between those select few, they may or may not have already decided who's having what and for how much. So when they say, oh, we've got an acre of land, we've got an acre of brown belt land outside Durham, all right? An acre of brown belt land outside Durham. We're starting the auction at £10,000. No bidders for 10,000? 5,000? 2,000? Please start the bidding at 2,000. This is an acre of prime development land. Start it at 1,000. Right. Any advances on 1,000? Any advances on 1,000? Well, sold to Raven for 1,000. Well done, Raven. You're very astute. You've managed to get that piece of land very, very cheap. But it doesn't stop there, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't stop there. That developer who's now bought the cheap land applies for a government grant. Now, these government grants are so obscure, nobody applies for them. So, for example, they make the grant so obscure and they give you such a short time frame, only one person can apply for that. So what they will do is they'll say, yeah, we'll put that out to tender. We've got £1 million and we're going to put it out to tender. But to tender for this, you've got to have an office in Durham, you've got to have an office in Blackpool, and you've got to have an office in Newquay. You've also got to have no more than 5 staff working in your office. You've also got to have and they make it so ridiculous for you to even be able to apply for that grant funding, because they're tailoring that to the person they already want to apply for the grant funding, which they already know. So then you have a scenario where this person now, he's spent £1,000, he's bought some cheap land, way under market value. He's now got a government grant for potentially millions to build on that piece of land. Once that piece of land's been developed, he then puts, well, whoever you guys think about, he puts in those and potentially gets taxpayer funded money back off that. You see how that scam works, how it could potentially work, ladies and gentlemen? Of course, I've no idea if that's happening or not. So then you say, 800 grand doesn't really seem like that much money, does it? To get your foot in the door and to get all that sweet taxpayer funding. Right, I'm just going to get some questions. Rachel Samantha is saying, excuse me. Rachel Samantha is saying, Sean, what do you think about them putting ram barricades up for the upcoming light switch on in Blackpool? Yeah, okay. Let me pin this. So I don't know if you guys have seen or not, but there's in Blackpool there's the ram barriers in Blackpool. I think you can answer your own question here, Rachel. I think they're putting the ram barriers up because they're expecting somebody to do a good old-fashioned ramming. If you think about Blackpool, the promenade on Blackpool where people normally walk, it's a big, long, straight road on the seafront. Are they turning those? When are they turning the lights on, though? They don't turn the lights on until October. I thought it was October. I'm pretty sure it's... Is it not October when they turn Blackpool lights on? Anyway, regardless, they're putting these ram barriers up to protect people from cars ramming them, which is just a new part of society now, guys. It's a new part of being in the United Kingdom, having the good old ram bars. Good morning, Terry. Good morning, Dilly Lizzie. Good morning, Barry Lloyd. Good morning, Anna Kane, Aaron Nash, Andrew Webb, Witchy Lab, Sarah G, T-Gen X. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, D. Marie Gen X. Good morning, Gemini Blessings, and good morning, everyone else. So, and good morning, T as well. And who else has said it? Okay. So, good morning to everyone. So that's kind of like, how that scam works. Now, I don't know if do you know what? Let's have a look at what the outcome of day one at Notting Hill Carnival is. Let me just have a look on the internet now, guys, what day one of the Notting Hill Carnival is. So I'm getting reports. Oh my, I'm watching the scenes from Notting Hill, guys. There's somebody in a tree doing trying to shake the tree. I don't know what they're doing in that tree. It doesn't look savory. It looks kind of things you wouldn't want your kids to watch. Apparently there were 140 arrests last night at Notting Hill, guys. 140 arrests. Can you imagine, right? Can you imagine now, guys, if this Notting Hill Carnival was like 140 arrests, right? Can you imagine if that was a protest or like an event with people waving St. George's crosses or Union flags? 140 arrests on day one. 21 weapons and 15 assaults on the police. Beautiful, guys. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Colourful. Fantastic. I'm all for Notting Hill. And I who actually goes to Notting Hill, guys? I'm trying to see what there's people in this tree, and I don't know what, I don't think they've got any clothes on. They're like shaking a tree. Yeah, sorry, guys. I was just going down and looking at the crime statistics for Notting Hill so far. So T is asking, what is the Notting Hill Carnival? So the Notting Hill Carnival is a celebration of Caribbean culture in the United Kingdom. And it always starts really nice and colourful, but it just descends into carnage every year, guys. Literally just descends into carnage every year. Simon or Simone, sorry, Simon, sorry, Simon Elliman is saying, "Hi Sean, do you think the army will be helping the police for the 13th of September protest?" Yes, but not on the ground. The police, sorry, the military, there'll always be a military liaison officer with all of these events. But that will be like a gold commando or something. I don't think you're going to see military on the streets. The police have enough people to deal with that on the ground. If something goes bang, or if there's like those, like people have got those long things that stuff comes out at the end, I think there will be counterterrorism teams located or co-located in and around that area, so you'd see them deployed real quick. But if we're talking about military on the streets with shields and stuff, I don't see that for the 13th. No. God's little helper. I'm not going to read the first bit of your comment, but they're saying Notting Hill Carnival, the amount of thing how okay, yeah. So not God's little helper is just saying there's a lot of bad stuff happening in at the Notting Hill Carnival. I don't know why they allow it every year, guys. I don't know why they allow it every year. It really is fascinating why people, why the government continue this Notting Hill Carnival. I mean, how much is that actually costing? Like, let me see how much it cost. Let me just Google how much the Notting Hill Carnival cost. So the numbers from 2023, and I would say these have gone up, was 11.7 million. So what do we get? So the taxpayers, I would say in London, I guess. So the London taxpayers pay like 11.7 million for Notting Hill Carnival. Like, if you don't go to Notting Hill Carnival, are you happy that your tax money is going to the Notting Hill Carnival? Oh, hang on. Cost of police in Notting Hill Carnival. I think this is different. Right, so this is from 2023. Right, so no, okay, stop. I was wrong. That is just okay. So wow, that's even worse. So this is the cost for the policing of the Notting Hill Carnival. So this is how much it costs the taxpayers to police and secure the Notting Hill Carnival. And remember, guys, a lot of these police officers get assaulted. So opportunity costs. I don't know what that is, but they're putting that at 3.8 million for opportunity costs. Overtime. So this says police officers getting paid overtime. 5.5 million. Internal fleet. I guess that's like petrol and diesel or whatever for the vehicles. 28,000. Wow. External fleet hire. So the police are hiring external vehicles. Almost £500,000, guys, on car rental, on vehicle rental. £474,228. Catering. So yeah, of course, the police need to eat something, right? So they spend £545,000 on extra food for the police. I mean, like, who are they feeding, David Lammy? Hotels. I don't know what the hotels are for, but they're paying. Oh yeah, obviously, if you're a police officer out of town and you have to go down to Notting Hill, it's an extra £208,000. These numbers are phenomenal, guys. Infrastructure. including items such as barriers, hostile vehicle mitigation, safer spaces, and IT support. 1.1 million. Wow. So there you have it, guys. That is how much. That is just the policing cost. I don't know what the full cost of the Notting Hill Carnival would be, but wow. Listen, I mean, I think it's fantastic. I would much rather have that 11 million pounds in my pocket myself. And Four Paws here is correcting and saying the Blackpool lights are switched on the 29th of August. I always thought, is that like the Blackpool illuminations, guys? Are the Blackpool illuminations actually turned on the 29th of August? Like, or is that something different? Because I'm pretty sure when I was a kid, the Blackpool illuminations always came on round about like Halloween time, I guess, autumn time. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Sharon Owen is saying there's 7,000 police on duty at the Notting Hill Carnival. Right, and people are just saying yes. That's when that is when the lights get turned on. Garth Staz is saying unbelievable the cost of the Notting Hill Carnival. It is, guys. It's unbelievable. Again, can you imagine? Like, can you imagine if this was like, if this was St. George's Day? Can you imagine if this happened at St. George's Day? Can you imagine? I mean, we don't even have a St. George's Day. Like, we don't even celebrate St. George's Day. Like, can you imagine if at St. George's Day you had this vast amount of cost, of resources, of police officers being assaulted, things happening to women? Like, what do you think the government would do? Like, how do you think the government would react? Like, do you think they'd be like, yeah, fine, we had a fantastic time, it was mostly peaceful? No, of course not. It will be closed down in a heartbeat, guys, in an absolute heartbeat. Oh, hang on, guys. We've just got some news here from. Hang on. Right, I'm going to come over to Angela Rayner first. You guys know I love Angela Rayner. I think she's fantastic. I'm looking at a picture of her now. With a red blouse and a beautiful face, and Wes Streeting standing behind her, and she's got a fringe on her head like that. And honestly, guys, I am not raging inside at all. What I'm genuinely thinking is, wow, what an astute businesswoman. What a fantastic beacon of femininity. How fantastic has she managed to rise to the dizzy heights of what is she, Shadow, like home? Not, she's not even Shadow, she's like the Homes Minister or something. I don't know. Deputy Prime Minister. No, she's Deputy Prime Minister. Oh wow. So let me just read this, guys, real quick. Angela Rayner has purchased an £800,000 seaside apartment in Hove, which will be her third property. Critics call on Miss Rayner to answer questions about the property she owns and where she pays the council tax she purchased the property. Like my question to her is, where'd you get 800 grand from, Angela? I've been saving in my piggy bank since I was 12, and every year I put 2% of my net income in that piggy bank. And lo and behold, by the time I'm in my 40s, I can have her. Always wanted it. When I came from them dizzy towns in Hull, I always said to my mum, I said, Mum, I would love a seaside apartment in Hove. Oh, it'd be proper ain't good. So, like, you know, I want to know where she got 800 grand from. Critics call Miss Angela Radio to that. The Shadow Housing Secretary, James Cleverly, said Angela Rayner is... look, guys, before we think that the Conservatives are any better, they will be doing it as well. Everybody does it. Like I always say, guys, okay, it's not the politicians, it's the system. Shadow Housing Secretary James Cleverly said Angela Rayner is responsible for housing policy, yet she won't even be straight about her own housing. Time and time again, she's asked to declare exactly what property she owns and where she pays council tax. And time again, she dodged the question. No, I do what I want. It's one rule for us, and you can do what you want. I do what I say, not do what I do. Miss Rayner divides her time between her 350 grand home in Manchester and her central London Grace and Favour flat. What's a Grace and Favour flat? Grace and Favour flat. I don't even know what that means. Grace and Favour flat. What is? I'm just gonna have to Google this, guys. I don't know what a Grace and Favour flat is. Everyday school day, Raven. Oh, the internet's off. Hey everyone, I think we glitched there a little bit. I think the internet came off for a second. Right. All right, okay. So a Grace and Favour flat. I didn't know this, guys. It's a Grace and Favour home is a residential property owned by a monarch or government or another owner and leased rent-free to a person as part of the so a great okay, so Grace and Favour. So okay, so to be fair, it's a little bit unfair. And look, guys, I'll be quite critical of Angela Rayner, but I think it's fair to be subjective. Objective, sorry. She doesn't actually own 3 pads. She has a Grace and Favour, which is not owned by her, but she lives there. So that's like, I don't know, government owned, or maybe it's owned by like a Labour donor or something, and they just give her a flat, which, you know, and then they'd get like, I don't know, free stuff off the Labour Party, or you know, they get told where these auctions are before any, or they're the only person who gets told where these auctions are. So Grace, yeah, and as April Lee's quite rightly pointed out, Grace and Favour is a government flat. Yeah, sorry guys, I didn't realise. April Lee is saying, we don't do anything at the moment, Sean. No events. Rachel Samantha is saying, yes, it starts on the 29th of August, according to their website. So we're talking there about the Blackpool lights being turned on. Again, I thought that was later on, but if that's the case, that's the case. Sharon Owen is saying food prices to soar. Right, GB News. Let me get this up because this is an interesting one. Yeah, lots of articles here, guys, about, I mean, I'm not going to pick one of them, but yeah, lots of news articles. Lots of news articles here, guys, about food prices soaring. And look, guys, like, I know it seems like it's a long way away. I do. I know it seems like it's a long way away, but you know when you get to Christmas, and can you, like, you know when you get to Christmas and the kids are like wanting stuff, and I know that Father Christmas brings an amount, but you know, you always try and subsidize what Father Christmas brings with other things that you've bought yourselves. So we actually saw him once. We did. We actually saw him once. There was well, we didn't see him. We heard him. Well, 100% we heard him. It was about 10 o'clock. And we was all in bed, and we heard the bells. He was traveling east to west. But anyway, so food prices are going to soar, ladies and gentlemen. I've literally, all you need to do is put it in Google, and you get so many different articles. Food, fuel, 4% inflation, meat, school fares, airfares, tobacco, alcohol. It's all going up, ladies and gentlemen. It's all going up. It's not me saying that. That's what most mainstream media outlets are reporting now. So remember, guys, okay, what you can buy now for a pound, it's going to cost you more in a couple of months. That's the reality. So it's entirely it's entirely up to you guys what you do with that. You can either try and get yourselves more money or try spending less. Sharon Owen is saying, you don't need to tell me, but start spreading the cost of Christmas. Get bits now. Yeah, guys, go and get your Christmas presents now. They're going to be a lot cheaper now as well. Food price, UK Veterans is saying food prices will also soar as we've had a bad harvest this year. Yeah, I didn't think about that. So you can see all these things coming in together, can't you? You know, guys, it's like, just look at it, take a step back and think about that. It's going to be catastrophic. We got, at some point, all these things are going to come together. I think it was, if I know it was, excuse me. It's in the Communist Manifesto. One of the things that they set out, one of the things that starts a revolution is when people can't afford housing, when they can't afford food, and when the prospect of work is out of the question. Tell me, ladies and gentlemen, riddle me this, riddle me that. Does it look like we're heading to the perfect Communist Manifesto storm right now, whereby people can't afford food, people can't afford anywhere to live, and the prospect of getting a job just seems so out of context, it's virtually impossible. That is literally, the ingredients for a revolution. Tracy McKibben over on YouTube is saying there was one of the organizers on social media yesterday saying that people wanted to move it to Hyde Park and that it brought in something like 4 million in revenue, Notting Hill. Okay, so Tracy McKibben is talking about Notting Hill, and she's saying it brings in 4 million in revenue. So if it's bringing in 4 million in revenue and it's costing 11.5 million to police, like, did David Lammy do this maths? Did David Lammy work out these numbers? I don't know, guys. If somebody was throwing this at you and this, like, there's a business plan. Imagine you go on Dragon's Den, right? Right? So you're there. You've got like what's his name? Pete Smith and that Deborah Meaden and Duncan Bannatyne. You know, you go in, you're there, Dragon's Den, you go, right, Dragons, I'm Raven. I've got this idea for a festival and it'll bring in 4 million in revenue to the local economy. It's like, I like your numbers, Raven, but how much would this cost the police? So our initial historically, it costs around 11.5 million to police. Well, Raven, your numbers don't add up, and for that reason, I'm out. Like, you can imagine it, can't you? Like on Dragon's Den or something. You wouldn't. It just doesn't make sense. Matt is saying the system is broken, but it's the people in Parliament that take advantage of the system instead of correcting the system. Yeah, because we have the wrong people in power. And we have the wrong people in power because the system is broken. Unfortunately, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, if you're competent, they won't let you. Guys, trust me, right? If you're competent, they won't let you in government because they can't. Like, look what happened to Boris Johnson. Say what you want about Boris Johnson, guys. Like, does anybody wish we had Boris back? Like, honestly, guys, I don't think we'd be in this much of a mess if we had Boris. And, I think... And I've shared the video with you guys before. I believe the reason that Boris went was because of his speech. He was warning people about AI and nanotechnology being injected into us. And Boris warned that early 2019. You guys can go and watch that speech. Watch that back again, guys. That is absolutely chilling. It's absolutely chilling to watch that back and consider to yourself, When Boris gave that warning the beginning of 2019, you guys know what happened, and then Boris was ousted. I don't know why Boris was ousted still, guys. I like if that had been to a public vote, I don't think he would have. I don't want to think he would have been ousted. Excuse me. God's Little Helper is saying, Guy Fawkes, remember the 5th of November, the gunpowder treason and what? Yeah, the last person, Guy Fawkes allegedly was the last person who entered Parliament with an honest intent. Hang on, there was a comment here. Yeah, and Witchy Lab over on YouTube is saying there's a huge number of farmers that have also gone bust. So you think about all this, guys. Food prices are going to soar, absolutely, 100%. You know, let's just split these two things up for a second, okay? So you've got the farmers having to go bust because they can't afford to farm anymore. There's been a terrible, like, honestly, guys, like where we live, we've probably had maybe two, or in fact, let me look out the window. Give me a second. Yeah, my garden. So my garden looks like a desert waste patch right now, guys. Like there's like a tiny little bit of green, like there's a few little green sprigs poking up. So you can imagine if you're a farmer, what this has done to your crop yield, what the weather's done to your crop yield. You can also imagine the new taxes on farmers, inheritance tax on farmers, you know, and all these extra taxes on farmers. What do you think that's doing to agriculture in the UK? What do you think that's doing to food production? Okay, I mean, I like to eat. I don't know about you guys, but food's all I've been eating lately. So, you know, you've got this big problem with the farms. And then you've got the Brucey bonus of like just the price in the supermarkets is having to go up. Because as, you know, we're not going to tax working people. As, you know, people tax the supermarkets have to put the prices up to cover those taxes. And ultimately, it is a tax on working people. It always is, guys. Any tax will always find its way down to like people at the bottom, like literally people at the bottom, guys. That always happens. UK veterans, hang on. Where did that comment go? UK veterans is saying 6,000 farm businesses gone since Labour came in. No. 3 farmers a week transcend themselves to beams of light. That can't be right. UK veterans is there a news article on that? Let me Google this. Wow. So I get, wow. Yeah, no, guys, I've got this. So this is from the Telegraph. Thank you, UK veterans. So this is from the Telegraph now. Record number of farms shut in the wake of inheritance tax raid. Labour's disastrous policies blamed as more than 6,000 businesses close. Wow. So that is 6,000 businesses producing food. A record number of farms were forced to close for good this year after Rachel Reeves' tax raid made the future of thousands of rural businesses unviable. A total of 6,365 agricultural, forestry, fishing businesses have had to close over the past year, according to the Office of National Statistics. Wow. So nothing good's coming, guys. Nothing good is coming. Yeah. So another terrifying thing, guys. The record of farms, the number of farms is shrinking at the fastest pace on record. Beaten from post to pillar, farmers are also grappling with the soaring cost of fertilizer, a poor harvest, following recent drought and floods last year. James Grindle, a 55-year-old third-generation farmer in South Leicestershire, said the poor weather and barrage of costs mean new farmers and entrepreneurs are reluctant to set up businesses in the industry. Yeah, of course you would be. So, yeah, so the farming, guys, is broken. Confidence at rock bottom. Yeah, the article goes on, guys. That's an article from the Telegraph. So, food prices, ladies and gentlemen, whatever it costs today, it's going to cost a lot more. It's going to cost a lot more in the future. Katie Joyce is saying, oh, hang on. Hang on. Right, sorry, Katie. Sorry, Katie. I was getting your last comments. Right. So Katie Joyce is saying, we are farmers. I'm an only child. When my parents pass, I will have to sell. That's terrible, Katie. My children are just getting into farming. I feel sick in the pit of my stomach knowing we can't keep it. I guess that's like an aspect I'd not thought of. And Katie's just brought it up there. So she's saying, you know, she knows that she can't keep the farm. So for Katie, that's I'm going to assume that's a lifestyle that she loves. She's grew up with. She knows, but she understands that she can't keep that farm. It's gone, and and it's over. So like Katie, I'd say a lot of farmers are living with this like anxiety in the pit of the stomach. It's unbelievable, guys. It's unbelievable what's happening to farming. Like, is it me, or does anybody else think that like food should kind of be an important thing? But don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, because when the war's over, we'll just import it all from Ukraine. Wow, and Katie's saying the farm's also been in their family for 80 years. Her parents are in the 80s. She's 40. She lives on the farm estate with them. So, Katie, just as a question to you, they already took our grants away last year. So, Katie, just as a question to you, like obviously a farm building's like quite a big, how, do you pay council tax, or is there some sort of exemption from like council tax? So I'm just thinking like a farm building, it's quite big, and I don't know how council tax is calculated, but like what is the council tax on a farm? I don't know. John Giles on YouTube is saying, it's okay for Angela to spend 800 grand on a third house. Are they mugging us off and our farmers? I don't know. Maybe they're mugging us off. Look, maybe, and I'll be objective. I'll be objective, guys. Okay, maybe Angela Rayner is just a very astute businesswoman. She's done some. I don't know. She put money in the stock market, crypto. I don't know, guys. I don't know where she's put her money. Maybe it's legitimate. But when I look at Angela Rayner talking, I kind of question the legitimacy. DMarie Gen X, in fact, hang on. UK Veterans is talking about the cost of fertilizer. Give over. Right, I don't know. Right, UK Veterans, is this true? UK Veterans is saying fertilizer that cost 1,500 a few years ago is now 15,000? That can't be right. Right. Look, guys, I didn't realize. And obviously, all these costs, and I know what people are thinking, oh, but, I'm not a farmer. It doesn't affect me. Do you eat food? Do you eat food? Because if you eat food, it's going to affect you. DMarie Gen X is saying, it's not just that, Sean. The cost of keeping one cow has tripled. UK Veteran is saying, I have a small 32-acre farm, and I know I can't pass it on. It's the hard work with it. So what are you going to do, UK Veterans? Are you going to does it look, guys, does it not seem like to everybody else that, does it not seem like there's this war on anybody who's got any land, and then that land's going to be bought up cheap and they're just going to put like masses of houses on it? April Lee is saying, what can you do to support farmers? Well, I think UK veterans would be in a better place to answer that. But I would say buy as much as you can from like local farm shops. You know, go into local farm shops and buy, you know, direct from the farmer if you can. UK veterans are saying, yeah, the war in Ukraine pushed it up. Yeah, all these things coming out, the guys. There's lots of things coming. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to caffeinate myself. I'm going to caffeinate myself. Sorry, guys. We kind of came off track there, didn't we? We was going on. We was talking about house prices, and then we just all of a sudden went to food, and then we went to farming, which is quite, you know, it's going to affect everyone. So. So you know all these reforms that we're doing about the migrant crisis in the UK at the moment, like, and you know the argument where people say, "Oh, it was migrants that built this country." I'm like, oh, what do you mean by that? Like, what do you mean by that? Because it really winds me up, guys. You know, it really winds me up. There's a difference, all right? There's a difference between building a country and coming and sponging off the already existing infrastructure. So like when people came to this country, and I'm talking about like you know, the Germans, the Vikings, the Nordics, there was nothing here, guys. There was nothing here. It was just land. You know, there was no infrastructure. There was no infrastructure. It was literally barren land. And people came to this country and they started farms, they started building, they started mining, they developed technology, and that's building a country. All right. That is building a country. And I'm all for, like, you know, I'm all for if like, you know, if people want to go down that argument, ladies and gentlemen. Like, if people want to go down the argument where they're saying migrants built this country, yeah, fine, go down that argument, all right? Well, my argument to you is go to the Ascension Islands, go to a barren patch of land and build your own civilization. Go and do it. Feel free. Please. I'll support you. I'll donate like a couple of quid. So, because I saw it on GB News, some guy, and he's saying, "Oh, but it was migrants that built this country." And I was really shocked that the guy on the news, he didn't respond by saying, "What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?" And then, you know, and he's talking about the Vikings coming over, and you know, and the French and the Germans and people coming over. He said, "Yes, this country was." Yes, I get that. Yeah, I get that. But we didn't have a welfare system. They didn't have a benefit system. We didn't have policing. We didn't have the NHS. We didn't have housing. We didn't have taxpayers. We literally had nothing. It was literally like hundreds and hundreds of years ago. We had dirt. So I'm all for it, guys. I'm genuinely all for it. You know, if these people that are coming over in the boats, they want to go and make their own world somewhere, fine. Like, you know, go over and start from scratch. Because then you're not, you guys know what I'm talking about. I don't want to get into that, ladies and gentlemen. But anyway, listen, migrants will enter Britain faster despite asylum reforms. Yvette Cooper's plan to tinker with the asylum appeals process does not tackle the root cause of the crisis, says Shadow Home Secretary. So look, guys, like, how many times have I said this? All these little bits of flim-flammer. Oh, we're going to push people through the courts. Oh, we're going to do this faster. Oh, we're going to do this. Oh, we've got this deal with those people. It's not going to make anything better unless you stop that flow. And the government can stop that flow within 6 hours, guys. you know, and I was watching something earlier, and it said, I can't remember who, it may have even been a post on X, but somebody was saying that the Labour Party are looking at, you know, at doing something dramatic, because if they don't do something dramatic, they know they're going to lose at the next election. And how many times, ladies and gentlemen, have I said this? Like, how many times have I sat here and said, do not write off the Labour Party? Don't write them off, guys. Do not write them off for the next election. Yes, things are bad now, but people are. I can't remember. Let me. I may even have the screen open. Let me just Google this real quick. No, I can't. I definitely saw it. It may not have. It may have just been like somebody's post on X. But you know, I think people are understanding now that Labour need to do something drastic, or they're just going to be, you know, it's just going to be a whitewash. But, ladies and gentlemen, right? Tell me this. So the election's not till like 2029 or something. I don't know. In fact, let me Google it and see when the next election is. When is the next? When is the next general election, UK? Right. So the next general election must be called before August 2029. Okay. So the next general election, guys, must be called before August 2029. Excuse me. So imagine now, guys, all right? January 2029. January 2029. Imagine this, guys, all right? Keir Starmer, he says, do you know what? I've secretly been listening to Real Raven 1 on YouTube, on X, and on TikTok, and I've been liking, commenting, and subscribing and sharing the notifications. I've been doing all that stuff, all right? So Keir Starmer comes out, he gives that announcement. He says, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the boats. He phones up the Navy. He says, I don't know, the head of the Navy, Admiral, yes, go and stop them boats, mate. He says, what now? He says, yeah, do it now. He says, right, no worries. And the Admiral goes and stops them. Between 5 and 6 hours, the boats are stopped. All right, that's in January. Mid-January, they start mass deportations, and they're showing it all over the news. You know, thousands of people getting rounded up and put onto planes, put onto boats, sent somewhere. What do you think the public opinion of Keir Starmer is going to be? What do you think the public opinion of the Labour Party is going to be? And then the Labour Party are going to be saying, oh, we managed to do it. We had to do this. We did it for you. We did it for you. We understand what you want. We've done it for you guys. The Tories had 14 years and they couldn't do it. We've done what the Tories couldn't do. We finished it. We've stopped it. We're going to build this nation better. We've got more money for this. We're getting rid of these migrants. We're doing this. Everybody's going to be like, yay, yay. It's not going to matter, because as soon as the election's done, yeah, move them ships, stop them deportations. Yeah, we're in for another 4 years. Yeah, we'll just do it again at the end. That's what'll happen. And people are, what I've noticed is people forget so quickly. They do. It's unbelievable. Like, can you imagine, like, you know, if you look at the stuff that happened, like, listen, guys, I'm going to have to talk in code here, okay? You guys know what happened like 2020, You know the crazy stuff that happened in 2020 and the crazy stuff that we had to do? The amount of evidence that's out there now. Oh, hang on. The amount of evidence that is out there now to talk about the amount of evidence that's out there, guys, that says that the stuff that people had to take in 2020, that it was bad for you. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? The amount of evidence is overwhelming. what? In fact, guys, do you guys follow Dr. John Campbell on YouTube? I don't know if you follow Dr. John Campbell on YouTube, but he did a video like, I want to say yesterday, but I saw it yesterday. So Dr. John Campbell did a video yesterday, and he talked about what did he talk about? A study that's been done in Japan, and they've got the numbers, from 18 million people. And there's a curve of things that happen to people who have certain medications, and it happens within the first 90 to 120 days. If you get through the first year, you're more or less okay. But that first year, guys, it's absolutely critical. So the question is, there's these masses of information out there now, and people are like, oh yeah, it's finished now. It's finished now. Unbelievable, guys. And I need to be very careful what I'm saying, guys. All right. I was watching in the UK. I mean, you've got to set the scene, guys. All right. You've got to set the scene. I didn't know what was initially. I was as shocked as everyone else. I mean, I can remember saying to my dad, about the maths, and my dad, when it was all happening in China and Italy, I remember saying to my dad, if it comes here, it's here. And I remember my dad saying, oh, it's not going to come here. I don't think it'll come here. It's no. And then there was a case in the UK. It was all over the news. The first case has been confirmed in the UK, and then there was 6 cases, and then there was 12, and then the next thing, there's all these cases. And I said to my dad, I said, it's here. And then I started to I wasn't seeing it with my eyes. I was hearing it on the news, and I was seeing like little Chris Whitty and his Hey Arnold head. So I went to Doncaster Hospital. Absolutely empty, guys. Absolutely empty, like a ghost town. I was like, wow, that's weird. Then I went to Rotherham Hospital. Again, nothing. Nothing, guys. Barnsley Hospital, empty. So now I'm thinking, right, okay, why are all these hospitals empty? Literally empty, guys. Nobody in. But all that information is readily available for us now. Like, all that information is there. And we just forget. We literally just forget. So what I'm getting at there is, guys, people forget. So don't write the Labour Party off, because mad stuff happens. Couple of days, weeks, months, something happens. People have forgotten what's just happened, and people are too busy with their own lives, guys. People are too busy with their own lives. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm coming on to the end of this live stream. On, I will be closing on TikTok, and then I'll be opening it up on YouTube. In fact, guys, do you know the video with Dr. What's his name? Is it Dr. Campbell or something? Do you want to watch that together on YouTube, and we'll do it like maybe later on today? We'll do like a share screen, and we'll watch it on YouTube and stop it at various points and just have a little chat. April Lee is saying there'll be 150 billion black hole by the next time the election is. Sharon Owen is saying the whole world is a stage. It is indeed. It's a fantastic stage. UK Veterans is saying they still offer boosters. Like, who's going for these boosters? Like, who's still going for them? I don't know. Like, who still goes for these boosters? UK Veterans is saying youngest was born 10 days before Boris came on the TV. It was like a joke in the hospital. Yeah, I mean, I went to the hospitals, guys. I was walking through the hospitals and trying to like figure out what's going on here. Like, where's all the people in full PPE? Where's all the ventilators and the respirators, and like where's all the shenanigans? I wasn't seeing it, guys. Like, with my own eyes, I wasn't seeing it. I'm not saying anything counter, guys, because I know a lot of people got really ill. But if you look on the they've changed the statistics now. They have changed the statistics now. So you used to be able to go on the Office for National Statistics, and you used to be able to see all this stuff in graphs. You can't see that anymore. You know, you can't see that anymore. The UK veterans is, yeah, so this is what I was going to say. I don't know if this is going to get my video restricted, but UK veterans is saying, notice hardly anyone transcended of a beam of light from flu in those times. So, like, if you used to be able to see these statistics, guys, on you used to be able to see these statistics on the Office for National Statistics. So, like, it used to say every winter you would get so many people, elderly people who already had underlying ailments. There'll be a certain number of people. What was it, like December, January, February time? There will be a peak of old people who would pass because of flu. 2020, 2021, 2022, nobody, there was like zero. And it was quite funny because nobody passed over with flu. It was like nobody. But the same amount of people had other things. I'm going to be very careful what I talk about, guys, because those sort of things still get you restricted. UK veterans is sort of saying normally 5,000 to 10,000 a year. Yeah, but it just literally, it went from 5,000 to 10,000 a year to zero, which I mean, I don't know, guys. I don't know. And what they put it down to is they said, because people are wearing masks, we've got rid of the flu. Because people are wearing masks and keeping 6 feet apart, we've got rid of the flu. Nobody's dying of flu because people have got the masks on and we're washing our hands, face and space. You know, that's what they were saying. And I remember another funny one as well. Just before we go, guys, and jump over to YouTube, I can remember watching I can't remember, like main Sky News or something. I don't know. Maybe GB News. I don't know if that was out there. But I was watching the news and they had a reporter outside an old people's home, and this old people's home, they were the first people to get the protection. Let's just call it the protection. So the people went in with the protection. They gave all these people the protection, and then tragically, they all not all of them, but most of them transcended to beams of light, like within a week. And I remember the reporter saying, "Oh yes, this old people's home, they've kept clean, they've kept safe, they didn't have an outbreak, but in that 2-week incubation time when they have the protection, there was an infection, and they all, nothing to do with, they all went, nothing to do with." I was thinking, are people really listening? Are people really this thick? Are people really this stupid? I don't know, guys. I mean, I was looking at this and I was having, like, you know, massive alarm bells ringing, guys, and just question marks. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I can see this is going a little bit controversial. So I'm going to jump over. I'm going to close this down now on TikTok. I'll be open on YouTube for a little bit longer where we can talk more freely. And I will be back later on today, hopefully about 7, maybe 8, guys, 7 or 8. I'll see you later, guys. Enjoy your bank holiday. Right, that is off. Give me 10 minutes. Not 10 minutes. That's ridiculous. Give me a couple of minutes, guys. I just need to respond to this message. So hello everyone on YouTube. Hello everyone that's jumped over. So right, guys, listen. I do believe the United Kingdom is falling, like we kind of said on the live stream earlier. And we were talking about, like, what measures you guys can take in place. Like, I think people are under this illusion that like the UK is going to fall apart and it's going to be big and it's going to be dramatic and it's going to be, you know, people getting their grab bags and, you know, and everybody in 4x4s going off road. It's not. It's going to be literally, and you can see this now, it's going to be death by 1,000 cuts. What do I mean by that? Just look at inflation. Look at inflation. If inflation, like, can you imagine if a bottle of like cooking oil had have gone from, like, if a bottle of cooking oil would have gone from, like, I don't know, I can remember when I used to pay 9p for a bottle of cooking oil. If a bottle of cooking oil had gone from 9p to £4 overnight, people would be outraged. But it's not. It's gone from 9 to 17, and it's slowly edged its way up. I can pretty much guarantee that wages aren't keeping track with that. So the cost of everything is going up, guys. And unfortunately, like, that cost is squeezing people. It's squeezing people. It's squeezing people into unemployment. It's squeezing people, as we've just heard, people are having to sell farms. People are having to sell businesses. It makes no sense right now. I think it was UK veterans who were saying, yeah, I think it was UK veterans were saying, excuse me, nobody wants to invest in this industry anymore. Nobody wants to invest in the United Kingdom because there's nothing there. People have got no money. Emma Green is just jumped up and she's saying, what's your honest opinion why the government has ordered more body bags and morgues? Because you can answer your own. It's quite self-explanatory. Because I think the government are expecting something to happen. Now, I think this is going to be a localized event. All we have to do is think about things. Let's just think about things that have happened previously. So we know now 100%. There are people in the United Kingdom who want to cause mass events, who want to cause mass ending of mass people transcending to beams of light. The guy, I'm not going to mention his name, but the guy, who I was talking about. The guy got caught. The guy who was, I don't even want to say this because I'm triggering myself. There have been people arrested in the UK with ricin in their homes. Now, there's other chemicals that people can make that I'm not going to mention, but I'm going to mention ricin because it's out there, it's in the public domain, and I don't feel like I'm giving anybody any ideas. But you can make ricin at home. So that means if you've got a house, you can make ricin. If you've got a car, you can transport ricin. If you've got a drill, you can put ricin into the water supply. So all these things, are readily available in the UK. And I'm genuinely shocked. I'm genuinely shocked that one of these things has not happened already. Emma Green is saying, do you think Putin? No, I don't. And if okay, so let me be clear. If there's it makes no sense for the Russians to attack the UK. Zero. Makes absolutely no sense. They would have again, I'm not saying it's not going to happen. It may happen, and that may bring Britain into the war. It may happen. It may be a false flag. I don't know. But strategically, tactically, makes no sense. Zero. If I was to put money on it, the place that Russia would attack next, and I may be wrong, but I would say he would attack Poland next. That seems to be, the airfields in Poland seem to be fair game. So, however, what I will say is non-conventional warfare, sabotage, those sort of things, they could easily be funded by the Russians, by whoever, and we'd never know who that was. So, can you imagine if there is, I don't know, if people have managed to smuggle in, lots of rifles into the United Kingdom from the front line of Ukraine. Remember, guys, traveling across Europe, you don't need to show your passport. You can get into, if you can get into Poland, you can literally drive all the way to Calais without showing any ID. That go around Germany, but that is literally what you can do. So riddle me this, riddle me that. Do you think that weapons could have been smuggled and explosives? Do you think weapons and explosives could be smuggled from Germany? Not from Germany? Do you think weapons and explosives could be smuggled from Ukraine? Use a big quadcopter drone to take them over the border into Poland, picked up in Poland in the back of a van, drove through Europe. Remember, you don't need to show any ID or anything through the Schengen. You know, you can literally drive straight through. Find themselves on the shores of Cali. Do you think that's like could happen? I don't know. Maybe it's unfeasible to think that could happen. Okay, right. If you think that could happen, let me ask you this as another question. Do you think these criminal gangs want to make money? I would say yes. I don't think that's controversial saying criminal gangs want to make money. Now, the next question is, do you think these criminal gangs have access to waterproof bags? Yes. I mean, I can go and buy them now from like Go Outdoors or what's the other one? Decathlon. Absolutely, I can get waterproof bags. So then you have the scenario where we've got to ask ourselves a question. Do we think these criminal gangs are putting weapons and explosives in waterproof bags, dangling them off the side of the boats as they're coming over? If the RNLI come out and intercept them, they just let them go in the bottom of the water. If they don't come out and intercept them, they've got the stuff on board. They've got the stuff in the UK. And I would add as well, I would say that there is a lot more of these boats reach the shores that are not intercepted. And if you're doing this as a criminal gang, you're going to know when the best time to send a boat for it not to get intercepted. You are. So I would say that would be a secure-ish route to get weapons and explosives into the United Kingdom. We already know that. Let me Google this. I know what the article says. I just need to. So I'm just going to read this, ladies and gentlemen. I'm literally just going to read this. MI5 working with police successfully foiled plot to carry out mass attacks using firearms and explosives by disrupting 43 late-stage plots. So these are 43 late-stage plots since 2017, as stated by MI5 Director General Ken McCallum in October 2024. So between 2017 and 2024, MI5, which would be UK Security Services, with the police, have successfully foiled plots to carry out mass attacks using firearms and explosives by disrupting 43 late-stage attacks. So do we think that's it? Do we think right now that there are no attacks being planned? Do we think that that's it? We're done as 43 guys, tea and biscuits, let's finish. I don't know. Now, this was an article published on the 8th of October, 2024. If you guys want to go and watch that. You know, that's all, read that, sorry. That's all out there in open source. So the question is, do we think these people are still bringing this contraband into the UK? Look, guys, I believe we're going to see drones. I do. I think we're going to see drones. I think that we will see drone strikes in the UK. And these drones will be built in the UK. So look, guys, imagine this, right? You managed to get a couple of hand grenades back over the border in the boat. So you've got a couple of hand grenades, right? Fair enough. You've also got the skills and technical ability from working on the front line in Ukraine. You've got the skills and technical ability to know how to put those hand grenades in a drone. You see where I'm going with this, guys? You come to the UK, you've got your 2 hand grenades. You go to, I don't know, Curry's PC World or whatever, or you buy it online. You buy the drone that you can work with. You buy the parts, the components, and now you've got a drone with 2 hand grenades on it. You see how easy that's put together, guys. And like, tell me if anything I've said seems far-fetched. Matt is saying, if Russia took Ukraine, do you think Russia will move into Poland? Yes, I do. No, I think it's the plan. Okay, so direct question from Matt, guys, and I'm going to close this down. This is my opinion, all right? Knowing that mentality as I do, if Russia managed to move through Ukraine, over the Dnipro, through Lviv, all the way up to Poland, there would be no point in stopping at the border. You would want to move into Poland, you'd want to move through Europe, because Putin has already seen the hostilities from Europe. That's my thoughts. And I think that the Europeans would be a lot softer target now than the Ukrainians. Don't forget, the Ukrainians have been fighting this war since 2014, and they're hardened to it. The Europeans, with all our fancy kit and equipment, we've not had war on our doorstep. So people are going to know very quickly. And guys, we will have masses of migration. Then you can imagine everybody in the boats coming over to the United Kingdom. Mr. Mister is saying £250 a year for energy in Poland, 2,500 here. Yeah, it's unbelievable, guys. It is. We pay more for our electricity than anywhere in Europe. It's unbelievable, guys. It really is. UK Veterans is saying you can get drones that can carry water and powder. It's used in China in the farming industry. So out there. Yeah. So like these drones, these drones are readily available to everyone. Like it's not illegal to have a drone that can dispense something. And it's not difficult to turn a drone that dispenses something into a drone that dispenses like hand grenades or something. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to close this down now. I will be back on later, no doubt, around 7, maybe even 8 o'clock. Enjoy your bank holiday, and make sure you watch my other videos as well. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've not done so, please hit those buttons down below, the like, comment, subscribe, and all those buttons that help me out. And April Lee is saying, make a drone at home. Yeah, so you can equally, if you don't have to buy a drone or a quadcopter, you can buy the parts online. I think there's a Hobbycraft, and there's a couple of websites. You can buy the parts and build them, to your exact specification. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going now. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe.